My name is Doug Haynes. I'm a professor of history and the vice provost for academic equity, diversity, and inclusion. And you are attending the second workshop in changing the face of STEM. STEM is an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It includes a wide range of fields. Part of the purpose behind this workshop is to create awareness about STEM opportunities early on in your careers as undergraduates. We feel that in order to respond to the President's challenge to the nation to increase the innovation workforce, future faculty or researchers in industry or entrepreneurs, that we have to start much earlier than our senior year. And at this workshop, what we want to do is to describe the range of internships and research opportunities that are available here at UCI and the many partners that we have in industry. Now, before I introduce our panelists, I want to acknowledge my partner, because this series of Changing the Face of STEM is a partnership between Cal IT2 and the UCI Advanced Program, and the director of Cal IT2 is my colleague, Professor G.P. Lee. And so I want to now get down to the nitty-gritty. We have 3 presenters from the campus, and then we'll be inviting 3 students who are at different stages to also reflect on their experiences. I'm going to give their names in ascending order. Ryan Foley is from the Anteater Entrepreneurial Center.
Thank you, sir.
Woo!
Michelle Foley is from the Career Center. And our first presenter is Saeed Shohar, who is the director of the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program.
I thought I was going to be last, but you know.
The last is first.
Right. So how's everybody doing? Good. The energy is good? Everybody's good. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, I want to try one more time. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and we hope to take you through an exciting journey. Allow me to share some basics, okay? So you made a wonderful decision to come to UCI, and you're looking at how you're going to launch into the future. Am I right? And this is not a physics tutorial, because I know some of you have taken physics, yes? But what's the optimum angle to launch a rocket? Angle with ground to launch a rocket to give you maximum range. 45 degrees? Is he the only one who knew that? Okay, so here's the punchline that I want to emphasize. Your role for the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and if you're a freshman, ideally we don't want to hear more than 5 years, but you know, you get my point, is to calibrate yourself, is to launch yourself into the right angle into the future. So, what's the point? Are we robots?
No.
No. In fact, I'm here to beg you that if you have been approaching your education as a robot, to stop. We're humans. We need to turn these interests that we have as humans into a passion. Some of us get caught into that concept we call a major. Don't do that. A major is a label, okay? We want you to think interdisciplinary, and we want you to think cross-disciplinary. Another thing I want to remind you, you've made a commitment to yourself and to your loved ones to make them proud. Am I right? And we're here to serve you. And if I were you, and I'm thinking, how do I take advantage of this wonderful Tier 1 research university? Okay? Assuming, of course, you have figured out a way how to play the GPA game. Why am I calling it a game? In every class, there are people going to get A's, B's, C's, D's, and F's. True? Whose decision is what grade you get? You. So as far as I'm concerned, each one of you is capable of getting straight A's. Now let's go beyond that. As you're walking the path and you're thinking, I want to go to grad school, I want to go to professional school, I want to walk to an employer and say, and walk to an employer with confidence and say, this is what I'm worth, this is what I deserve. I want to graduate with confidence. I want to make my community proud. I want to see more of people that look like me in the profession that I want to seek. I want to be a role model. So then we say, okay, well, how about once you have identified your interest, then you start approaching faculty. And this is a question to many of you, and this is why I go back to the point of, please, I beg you, if you have been approaching your education as a robot, stop it. We're not here to make decisions for you. We're not here to tell you what to do. It's all about taking initiative. So we want you to interact with the faculty. And what's the biggest complaint we get from faculty? Oh, students don't come to my office hours. Right? Why? Why should you ever fear or be intimidated by a human? Right? And keep in mind, for this journey that you're here for, you're expected to develop healthy working relationships. Because what's the least outcome you should expect? Good letters of recommendation. Good references. We all need that. But here's what I ask you, before you approach faculty, is to do your homework. So probably some of you have been to this website we call faculty.uci.edu. Correct? Who has been there? If not, tonight, this weekend, this quarter, do it. And or go to the departmental websites or the school websites and do a search by a keyword. And you get a list of all the faculty on this campus who are doing research on a topic. God forbid you have a family member that has been affected by that horrible disease we call cancer. And you took it personal. You are pissed off about that. You want to find a cure for it. And you go, okay, who's doing research on it? Don't get dizzy. And let's say you want to know more about, I don't know, Amy. Okay, where did she got her degree? She also has a link to her website. Look it up. Find out what kind of research culture she has. Who's involved on her team? Okay? Look up keywords in the abstract. And how do you look up keywords, guys? Do you Facebook it or you Google it? You Google it, right? Look up publications. Read about it. Don't expect to understand everything you're reading. If you understand 5%, it's better than what I'm able to understand. How are we defining research? Everybody is doing just as valuable as, I know we're talking to STEM crowd, but also in the arts. Choreographing and dance piece, that's a form of research. And you need to appreciate what they're doing. And maybe involve them in what you're doing. In the humanities, analyzing the work of an author, scholarly work, archival research, that's just as valuable. In the social behavioral sciences, psychology type of experiments, surveys, using statistics, engaging human subjects, that's a form of research. In the applied sciences, engineering, computer science, design projects, form of research. In the physical biological sciences, wet lab environment, theoretical work, some of you will be using the animal model. 60% of the biomedical undergraduate research done on this campus is mentored by faculty from the School of Medicine. There is not a topic you can think of that we're not doing research on it. We don't have enough classes to cover all your interests, nor do you have time to take every class you're interested in. So if I were you, I would take advantage of this environment. I would identify my interest. I would do some homework on the faculty. I would reach out to them. And this is where you get into the proper communication. None of this, hey dude, right? And avoid misspells. And avoid shotgunning. And the faculty might invite you for a visit. And they know that you're about to start. So drop your insecurities. Okay? You're not perfect. Is there anybody perfect in this room but me? My wife reminds me of my flaws every day. And that list is expanding. Okay? You talk to the faculty, you establish what's, you talk about communication, you talk about expectations, and keep in mind you get academic credit for doing research through the 199 courses, or Chem 180, or Physics 195, etc., etc. And it's when you go between one up to 5 units per quarter, graded units, GPA booster. That's if you want to play the GPA game. Commitment means 12 to 15 hours a week, 2 to 3 quarters. To get anything out of a project, you need to commit for a whole year, otherwise don't mess around with it. I'm not here to create a dependency on Europe, but we're here to serve you. So I want you to take advantage. We're not going to make decisions for you. We don't believe in matching, but here's some programs that I want to highlight for you. If you need help with that initial step, or at any point throughout the research process, fill out an interest form, and one of the counselors at Europe or myself will meet with you. Once you have identified a mentor and a project you want to work on, we're going to invite you to propose that and request recognition of the Europe grant or fellowship and funding for project expenses. Recognition, where does that go on? Something called resume, CV. Again, part of building a competitive profile. GPA alone, having a degree, is not going to make you stand out. You love what you're doing and you're ready to intensify in the summer. Serve all disciplines. But now in this case, we're funding your time and effort. A job at In and Out is great. Delicious burgers, as is obvious in my case. Cute uniforms. But give us a chance to pay for your living expenses as you're intensifying and doing the research. Professor G.P. Lee, I call him the Godfather. He and I have collaborated on multiple projects actually. We had an RU site funded by NSF. We also have a Surfeit program, which is a summer undergraduate research fellowship focusing on IT. We're also working on the multidisciplinary design program, where we invited faculty from 2 different schools to propose projects that are multidisciplinary in nature. And we just announced the 72 fellows who will be involved in the 14 projects for this year. ESERP is in collaboration with the cardiovascular research. You want to do research more on cardiology? Submit a proposal. ID Sure, funded by NIH with a focus on health promotion, disease prevention. What else do you want? You're sick and tired of the campus, you want to get away? Great. Other opportunities, off campus, we have assembled for you. And we're talking about students from Stanford and Berkeley, and I'm not saying that, I'm not implying that they're better than us. But we should, because we see the traffic. They link to this clearinghouse. Opportunities at other universities, national labs, think tanks, where we give you a synopsis. We give you the URL. No dependency. You need help? We're happy to help. I want to invite all of you. Part of the research process is, again, what? You got excited about an idea. You found a mentor. You did the work. And keep in mind, research has a lot of uncertainty to it. And some of you might be doing an experiment 20 times, and it's failing, and you're losing hair. Right? But that's the excitement. On the 21st time, it works. And that's what you call the aha moment. Aha moment means what? Now I'm ready to present. So I'm inviting you all to join us at the symposium. It will be held this year on May 16th. This year we expect at least 1,200 undergrads from different disciplines coming together to present their research. I want you to be there to interact with them and their faculty mentors. Networking, that's another skill we all need to develop. You want to publish your research? Here it is. So what's the bottom line, guys? Is the university in charge of your education? Not really. We're putting you on a schedule. You need to take charge of your education. You decide at what angle you want to launch yourself. Because I remind you, you don't get very close to the 45 degrees. Let's say you launch at 10 degrees. In 7 to 10 years from now, you're going to be fumbling. And you're going to ask yourself, why am I doing this? But at that point, adjusting the path will cost you a lot more. Because you're on your own, you have other survival issues you're dealing with, mortgage, rent, insurance, and all that stuff. Some of you might start families, etc. You're not going to have the luxury that you have right now in exploring your interest. And what's the big deal if you do research and you fail at it? In fact, as GP and I have talked often, in order for you to enjoy success, we want you to fail. But if you fail, and I'm not talking about grades, don't walk around and say, Saeed said I can fail, I can get that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if you fail, do it efficiently. Get up and move forward, learn from what you have experienced, and charge forward. I thank you for the opportunity, and I'll be here for more questions.
Our next presenter is Michelle Foley from the Career Center.
All right, you all warmed up and ready. Now that Saeed told you about research and all of that. So I am going to talk to you about getting experience. And there's more than one way that you can go about getting experience. So we're going to go through several of those. So when I think of experience and I think of what you can put on your resume, there's a lot of different categories that fall into that. Casual work, a lot of you may be engaging in that now or did it in high school, working at fast food establishments or retail or casual employment, things that you know you're not going to be in long term. It's serving a purpose now to get money in your pocket, to get a little experience on your resume. That should probably end very early in your college career as you move on to other things. Other ways to get experience, volunteer. So if you're engaging in volunteer activities, good for you, continue. Make sure you're going consistently and make sure you're asking for more and more responsibility the longer you're there. If the place you're volunteering at offers an internship program, see if you can make that transition from being a volunteer into an internship program that will give you more leadership experience, more exposure to what that organization is doing, and more things you can put on your resume. Research, we just learned all about that and all of the opportunities that can present you. And I can't emphasize enough the importance of connecting with our faculty, not only for what they're doing here, but for the people they know out there. Because a lot of our faculty are very well connected with industry, and if your plans don't include graduate school, they may be able to help you with a referral or a letter of recommendation. So again, backing up what Saeed said, go to those office hours, get involved in their research, get to know those faculty so that they can help you along as you progress through UCI and beyond. Student organizations, I cannot say enough about joining a student organization. They're the heart of the campus, and there's so many that are so well connected, again, to people off campus. So seek out those organizations. There's over 600 at UCI, well over 600. So look for things that are related to your professional interests. There are some that are very specific, and there are some that are much more broad, and there's something for every single discipline and interest. But don't just go to a meeting. Make sure you get involved. Join committees. Join early so that you can progress into leadership, being on board and getting connected. A lot of employers will seek out those student leaders, and grad school. If you're looking at grad school in the future, having a club presidency on your application is only going to help that application. So again, can't say enough about our student organizations. Next Thursday, the Career Center is going to be hosting a club fair for 17 organizations that partner with us. So you can come down to the Student Center Pacific Ballroom to meet the 17 organizations that are partnering with the Career Center. But again, those are just a tiny few out of the 600 we have on campus. So look into that. And then of course, ultimately, before you graduate, you want to have at least one internship on your resume. Again, whether you're going to grad school or going directly into industry after graduation, that internship is only going to help you in that pursuit. One of the biggest concerns I hear from students is, I don't have any experience. Why would somebody hire me as an intern? And to that, I will simply say, you are a UCI student. Enough said. Put some confidence in yourself. Know that an internship experience is all about learning. Those employers are bringing you in. Yes, you're going to maybe add some benefit to their business, but they're bringing you in to teach you, to mentor you into future leaders for their companies. So don't get hung up on the fact that you don't have internship experience before. That's the point of the internship. All right, so you got to prepare for all of this, whether you're going for research or for your internship or even going for a leadership role within a student organization. There are things that you should be doing to get prepared. And the first I would say is research and discovery. And that's different than what Saeed was talking about. This is personal research. What are you interested in? What do you want to do? So start thinking about things. What are your favorite classes, or what really gets you going in your personal life, personal activities? And can that be a job? Start there. Google it. Google has everything. If you want to do something very specific, Google that phrase, that job title, that internship title you've heard of, and see what else comes up. At the bottom, it always gives you alternative searches or different phrasing of the words you put together that could lead you to other job titles that are very similar to the one you know of, but will open up a lot more opportunity for you. So make sure you're doing that research and discovery. Look at job descriptions. See what keywords those employers are using, or those organizations, those research opportunities are using to describe the opportunity they have, and make sure those words are on your resume. Also use those keywords to go back and search for more and see what else you can find. Resume and cover letter are going to be so critical. It is a competitive job market. There are a lot of jobs out there, a lot of internships out there for all of you. But it's competitive, and you need to be able to present yourself the right way to make employers want to come talk to you, or to get those grad schools to invite you in for an interview for a graduate program. So again, referring to keywords, make sure you're including those, but also formatting and the phrases you use to describe things are going to be important too. So you can certainly find a lot of resources online, and of course the Career Center has a whole slew of resources for you, from examples to keyword lists to workshops to help you put it together, and of course our counselors and peers to give it a once or twice over and help you make corrections to make it top-notch. As I mentioned, we have tons of workshops: resume, interview, networking, negotiation, you name it related to job search, the Career Center offers it. Sometimes they're presented by counselors, and a lot of times we invite our employer friends to come and present those topics to you. That not only gives you a different advantage, a different vantage point, but it also keeps us up to date on what they're looking for and the current trends that are happening around these things. So look at our navigator. These are on the back table. Tons of workshops in tiny little print here. There's so many, it has to be this small. You can also go online and look at our calendar and see all of those things in a size that's much larger. I listed here the ones that are specific, the workshops that are specific to internships. And then lastly, in our resources, I'll mention practice interviews. These are recorded interviews. You go into a room, there's a webcam, you're asked a list of questions that are pretty standard regardless of the industry or occupation you're going into, and then they review that with you and give you feedback right on the spot. You can also take that video if you have a mentor, if you want to show your parents, if you want to show board members in the student organization you're a member of, asking them for feedback as well. You have that recording and you can do that. This opens eyes in so many different ways, and I hope you will take advantage of it. All of these services are free while you're a student here at UCI, so certainly take advantage of them. Some resources for internship search. There's many more. I just put these together. On-campus interviews has nothing to do with working at UCI. We have 6 rooms in the Career Center that are specifically reserved for employers to come and interview students for internships and full-time jobs. So when you see on-campus interviews referenced, that's what it means. It has nothing to do with working here at UCI. We have at least one fair a quarter. Most quarters we have multiple. Next week, there's the Community and Public Service Fair. There's the Internship and Career Fair. And then next month, there is Ingitech, which is an engineering computer science fair. So not all the fairs we have aren't always hosted by the Career Center, but we do try to put information on our website so that you can find it and get to these events. So again, if you pick up our navigator in the back, the fairs that we have coming up next week are on there, and we'll have a link to Ingitech as soon as they have information available. Programs outside of UCI, we have UCDC in Sacramento. We help you secure internships in these areas. Just because they're in our state capital and our country's capital, they're not all political. There's all sorts of things. In fact, I believe UCDC is having a presentation from an organization that is looking for computer science majors in DC. So they're looking for those summer interns. So there's something for everybody. I encourage you to explore it, whether it's the Career Center's summer program, or there's also an academic year program where you go and you take classes as well as do your internship. So that's just a couple of the programs we have here on campus. All right, so what do employers want from you? We're going to go from 10 to 1. Anybody want to throw out any ideas? What are employers looking for?
Communication skills.
Absolutely. It's way up there on the list. Anything else?
Come on, it's like Family Feud.
Okay. So interpersonal skills. You need to be able to get along with people of different age groups and different personality types and learn how to work with each other. Writing skills, writing and editing, sending out reports, communication with clients, coworkers, anything of that nature. Computer skills, so that's the basics, knowing the Microsoft Office suite, knowing how to use maybe some creative products, knowing how to use both a PC and a Mac, general computer skills. Technical skills are related to the job that you're applying for. So that's going to be very specific to the job descriptions that you're looking at. And for that, I would say at the internship level, you're not going to know everything. You're learning that. But if there's something that's mentioned, a software program or a skill set that you are not that familiar with, Google it. If nothing else, at least you can say, I haven't done it before, but I know this, this, and this about that. And that, a lot of times, is going to be enough for the employer at the internship stage. Analytical skills, research skills. You can collect information, compile it, and then back down to those writing skills, put it out in a manner that's easy for everyone else to understand. Communication. Number 4, it's been in the top 10 list for the last 15 years, and it's the things that most employers complain about. Even though it's number 4 this year, it is the biggest complaint that we hear. Students, entry level, lack a lot of communication skills. So make sure you're working on those. As Saeed said, you're using the proper grammar, you're doing your spell checks, you have an opening and a close, you're greeting someone. It's not, hi, I was contacting you because blah, 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 blah. Hello, Michelle. I'm a third year bio-sci major and I'm looking for an internship. And then go in and sign your name on the bottom. That way I know how to reply to you too. Planning and organizational skills, problem solving, and last but not least, teamwork. So these are the top 10 things that employers are looking for this year. Most of these are repeats. Communication is the only one that's consistently been there for so long. All right, if you're going to graduate school, if that's in your plan, the Career Center can help you with resources related to that. We do have 3 graduate school fairs a year. One's a very broad general graduate school fair, one is law school, and the other one is health professions, which will be coming up in April. So if you're looking for that, these are representatives from schools, mostly domestic. We get some international schools that will come to the grad fair in the fall. And what we have heard from them is very similar to our employers. Make connections and follow up, because they actually do have input on admissions at a lot of these places. So they're the recruiter that goes out to a bazillion schools over the academic year to recruit for their graduate programs. But when it comes to application and selection, they still have input. So making sure you're following up and networking with them just as you would with any other professional. We also have workshops, and we have career counselors that are available to talk to you about these things in graduate schools in your future. So actions you can take: attend workshops. Whether you are a first year or you're a senior that's going to graduate in June, start today. You need to get your resume in tip-top shape, and you need to start searching. The average job search takes about 6 months. So if you wait until May to start looking for your job for post-graduation in June, you might find yourself unemployed throughout the summer. So start now. We have a lot of employers that are starting to recruit for internships this quarter. January, February is the peak summer internship recruiting time. By March, you will know where you will be in the summer holding your internship. 60% of the internships we get at UCI are paid, about 40% are unpaid, and most of your disciplines are probably going to be paid. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you're looking for your internship. There are some workshops, Resume Basics and Internship 101. Internship 101 is brand new. It will debut on Friday. And we also have a new transferable skills workshop. So if you're getting experience in those other ways, how can you write them out to be suited for a professional opportunity? Get on Zotlink or any other job search engine. Zotlink is good because it's targeted to UCI. I know it's difficult to navigate. I know it is not the most user-friendly site. I've heard it all. It is what we have, and it's what we have to work with, but the benefit is those employers are logging in to Zotlink specifically, and they're posting jobs for UCI students. This is not a national dump base. This is not something that employers can post at one place and push it out to everywhere. They specifically have to seek out UCI. So anything you see there is for you. And then you can see the other things there. Again, I mentioned mock interviews, on-campus interviews, exploring graduate school, networking, network, student organizations, faculty, staff on campus. Talk to everybody you can about what you want to do in the future, and you never know who is going to come back with a referral. So last, I'll leave you with information about Experience Expo. This kicks off Friday. It's a 2-week series of activities and events to let you know all the different ways you can get experience, whether it's intern, volunteer, or research. There are events, workshops, panels, and information sessions. So there is something for everyone. And I'll leave you with this little video.
Just like Poland. So Poland. Yeah, I think you said Poland.
presenter is Ryan Folan from the Entrepreneur Center.
Yes.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me okay? Girls and guys?
Yes.
I can't hear you. Can everybody see that okay? I can barely hear you. Is that better? I'm starting to seem that you're here. My name is Ryan Folan and I am from the Blackstone Launchpad. How many people here have heard of the Blackstone Launchpad on campus? Raise your hand, be proud. Okay. We are part of a nationwide effort that is taking part at 15 campuses across the nation. Part of Obama's startup, recognized by part of Obama's startup initiative. It is funded by the Blackstone Group. Who here has heard of the Blackstone Group? Okay. It is not Treadstone, which trained Jason Bourne to be an undercover agent against our own country. It is not BlackRock, the mercenaries who didn't do what they should have done over in Iraq protecting oil fields. It is the Blackstone Group. They are a private equity firm that runs $300 billion in assets. They own Hilton. Their owner, Stephen Schwarzman, is one of the most wealthy individuals in the United States, close to about $9 billion net worth. He made a decision to fund a charitable organization, the Blackstone Charitable Organization, with the intent to use that money to create early entrepreneurship opportunities on campuses across the nation. Started in 2005 at the University of Miami. It's made it all the way over here, and we at UCI were the first ones with this program on the West Coast.
Yay!
There are two other Blackstone Launchpads in LA, UCLA and USC.
Boom!
That's all right, we were first, so that's great. What's exciting is it's now a regional effort. So we put our Zots aside and we now have a network of entrepreneurs that are budding to create a community in the entire Los Angeles area. What's unique about what we do is that we help students start companies. I'm going to say that again. We help students start companies, and that's as simple as it is. There are incubators, there are accelerators, there's all kinds of great programs on campus. What is interesting about our methodology across all Blackstone Launchpads, we don't care about your idea. She thinks it's funny. We don't care about the idea. It's not about the idea. Ideas are worthless. Ideas are worthless. It is execution that makes an idea good. It is execution that makes an idea good. You probably have all kinds of great ideas, and then you get out of the shower and you forget about it. Ideas are where the opportunity for innovation starts. I come up with all kinds of ideas, but what makes sense is when you can take those ideas and you turn them into something. So let me explain how this process works. Here's you. All of a sudden you have an idea. Problem is you don't know what to do with that idea, where to go to it, because you might be scared somebody thinks it's a dumb idea. Well, I'm letting you know all ideas are dumb ideas, so you should have no fear. But still, people think that there's this big monster that's going to attack them when they get out into the world with what idea that they have. Now, this isn't just a business idea. This is a research concept. This is a new, original idea within your field of research. This is getting stuck in a proof and scratching your head, banging your head and going, there's got to be a better way to do this. But there is no big monster out there that's going to stop you. You are in a university setting. As Saeed said, we're not here to push you into something. We're here to explore. So the Blackstone Launchpad is brand new on campus. We haven't even had our year anniversary. Since then, we've identified 145 students that have come to us, and they're working on an idea right now. Now, today is all about internships and research. So, that cog is your internship. That cog is your research. That cog is whatever it is that you want to do based on what idea it is that you have. All of science, all of math, all of engineering, all of technology, it's based on ideas. And the only way we're going to go anywhere is if you get those ideas out on a paper, out into the world, into these systems. Now, Michelle put it on the spot. She said experience. Experience is the only way that you're going to get your idea going. But people just don't cross the start line. We talked about failure. The old way of thinking of things is wait until you're ready and then go play the game. Practice and then go. The new way is success through failure. Get out there as fast as you can and fail and use that as a way to move forward. Science, math, engineering, technology, it's all about failing at the end of the day. And once you revel that, understand ideas are stupid, and then it's all about execution, you're on your way to finding what experience it is that you choose. At the Blackstone Launchpad, we literally help you launch towards your ideas. Now, Michelle has awesome resources for internships. Saeed has awesome opportunities for research. We have awesome opportunities for you to create your own internship at your own company. Now, if you have a difficult time getting an internship at another company, why not start your own? If you have an idea that you think is worth sharing, why don't you try to build a team and move it forward? There's nothing stopping you now. How many of you here have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank? Raise your hand high. This is why it's a perfect opportunity to take your idea and convince people with money to give it to you. Because they're old and they're out of ideas. Present party excluded, of course.
Are you talking about GP or?
Present party excluded. So, we're talking about building a resume. And we talked about resume. Who here has a resume loud and proud? Yeah, right? Okay, we did not talk about what I think is just as important. It's a failure resume. How many people here have put together a failure resume? Raise your hand. All right. A failure resume is the root of your resume. The first time you take a test, is it always going to be the best? The first time you study anything, you don't realize it, but everything is rooted in trying. So what looks better on your resume? Your real resume. Or, I started my own company and I failed and this is what I learned. Everybody here, you're in college. You should be able to start your own company. We can help you do it. If you fail, awesome. You're learning for the next time. We like to say we train the jockey, not the horse. We train the jockey, not the horse. And with each experience that you have in a failure situation with a startup, you get smarter. Now, as you get from your lab career to your potential professional career, you're in a spot where you don't know what it is that's best for you. Can you take people's advice for it? No. Can you go out there and actually try to see what the environment's like? Yes. Whether you want to be in the lab or whether you want to create a professional job within STEM, you guys are the ones that are going to be filling the positions. And the only way you're going to find out is to get out there and do it. I know people in finance that go to the big firms 7 years down the line, have a midlife crisis because there's no work-life balance. It's not what they were really passionate about in the first place. And then they try to start over again. You guys have the opportunity to figure out which way you want to go. And there's no better place to start than STEM. It's like the root of a flower that's growing that hasn't blossomed yet. Just made that up. At the end of the day, if you remember one thing about what I'm saying, it's that we are building a community. The community involves the Career Center. The community involves Cal IT2. The community involves UCROP. It involves the entire campus. UCI has not historically been known as this great entrepreneurial school. We want to help connect those dots. It's not that we are the one place you go and you don't go anywhere else. We're just one option, but we're not going to judge your idea. We're going to help get you prepped and primed to go into an established incubator. Because incubators and accelerators want you to have your ideas that are developed. We'll help you develop your ideas without telling you that your idea is good or bad. Can you tell me if your idea is good or bad? That's a yes or no question. Can you tell me if your idea is good or bad? Yes. No. Can I tell you if your idea is good or bad? No. The market will tell you if your idea is good or bad. So what's the harm? You create this idea. You don't judge whether it's good or not. You just run as fast as you can with it. You put it in front of customers. You see if they like it. If they like it, you make it. If they like it with suggestions, you tweak it. That's iteration. That's a lean business model. We can help you go through this. There's 3 opportunities for you to get involved all the time on an ongoing basis at the Blackstone Launchpad. The best way to build your network is to meet people. You cannot network in isolation. Now, meeting other students is one thing, but meeting industry professionals with domain expertise that have been out there in the world, that's truly where it happens. We already established you don't have money. It's not about your net worth, it's about your network. On Mondays and Thursdays at the Blackstone Launchpad, we bring in 2 guest speakers all quarter long. They talk about entrepreneurial topics. It's a one-to-one kind of situation with a fireside chat. We feed you pizza. You listen, you learn, and you eat. What's better than that? Seriously, last Thursday we had, who here knows TED Talks? Okay, who here likes TED Talks? I wish I had another question for you to raise your hand again. John Bates, who's a professional TED coach, was there on Thursday. He brought lightsabers. It was just, people walk by and have no idea what's going on. And in order for you to find out, you need to get into it. But we have amazing people that are here on a weekly basis. You can stop in, you don't have to make reservations. This is a way to continuously be plugged in. And you can get on the mailing list and see who it is and make a decision to go. Secondly, 1 million cups. Who here has heard of the 1 million cups going on? All right, a few people. Blackstone Launchpad, our goal is not only help you as an entrepreneur, but get you plugged into the community. There's a huge entrepreneurial community out there. Even this crazy Evo Nexus that's being built back here. Here at Cal IT too, there's all these people. So we have an event that's going on every Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock. 2 entrepreneurs give 6-minute presentations, and the audience gives active feedback and dialogue. There's free coffee. It's a weekly event. If you're interested at all in any type of startup, we have everything from, we had a gentleman today talking about a new mouthpiece he's developing, to students presenting their research that they're trying to commercialize. So if you want to get plugged in, you've got to get outside of your door. And third, join a team. How many people here have an idea that they're excited about? Okay, put your hands down. Well, everyone else in the world who has brilliant ideas, raise their hand. Do you see all those? Do you see that? Out of 26,000 students, there are lots of hands up right now. And if your hand is down, the trick to get involved is to join the team. Who here knows that there are business competitions that go on? Okay, if you don't, there are business competitions that go on. If you're scared to start your own company, why don't you join a team of somebody else who's maybe just a little bit less scared than you? Again, joining a team is a way to get going. Whether you win first, second, third, or fourth, it doesn't matter. If you have an idea and you're willing to run with it, you still have a victory. Whether it's even a little participation award for you showing up, still something. You can milk it. I know you're engineers and technology, but you can get with a writing person and you can take a failure and spin it into an award. We want to help connect with you on whatever element that you connect with. We try to be active in all these mediums because we know that you guys are in different places. If you want to see crazy pictures of people jumping off of trampolines, go to our Instagram. If you want to get updated on events and what's going on, go to our Facebook. LinkedIn is a great way to get associated with us. If you're on LinkedIn, follow our group. Somebody's looking at you. Oh, Blackstone, what? You may not know about it, but a lot of people do know. It's a name and you can use it. Twitter. And our last one, YouTube. We love making videos, so if you don't go to an event, you can see what's happening with it. Again, the one word I want you to remember is community. We're here to help build a community. We're not the only place to go in town. We're a place to start if you want to talk about an idea, talk about research. We work very closely with everyone here. If we talk with you and identify that you've got a potentially commercialized product based on your research, we can get you hooked up with somebody who can help you with a grant. Does anybody understand biotech's kind of hot? Right? Science, technology startups, there's a lot of stuff happening with that. Why not get an internship with them? If you walk into our door and say, I want to get an internship with a biotech company, I'm going to go, what company do you want to get an internship with? Talk to Michelle. We'll use all the resources it has. Think of us as a Tenuit. So we are creating a community. If you want to get involved in the community, even to sit on the sidelines, entrepreneurship is a contact sport. You got to get off the bench. And if you are leaving college without feeling like you're some sort of an entrepreneur, that's failing. Because each and every one of you in your own right has ideas, worthless or not, that you can continue to move forward on, and for your own purpose, whether it's your research, or whether it's your dance choreography, or whether it's your literature digging in deep, you guys have the power to do it. So don't let me stop you. Let me help you. Everybody's here to help you. Clap for yourselves, not for me, because we're here for you. Scene.
Thank you. All right. The next segment involves 3 students, 2 former, 1 current, and I hope they will come to the table.
Maybe we clap or come.
our three students, give me one moment as I sort of rifle through my notes. They are Esoza Agabo London. Yes, I got it right. Anna Papio and Alexandra Guerra. Perfect.
Yeah! New face instead! Yeah!
What I'd like to do is to ask some basic questions and then have them answer. And then thereafter, open the floor to your questions. You can direct your questions to our guests or our staff and other leaders who are on campus.
Sit up there.
So,
Saeed, you want
yeah.
to sit up here? Come on, Saeed.
The lights have been dimmed. So the first question that I'd like each of you to answer is, what caused you to explore internships during your career at UCI? And before you answer that, tell them, your name and what you're currently doing now. And then tell us how you initially got interested in an internship opportunity or a research opportunity.
And if I can add to that, these three young, powerful women are very much entrepreneurs. And they are prime examples of creating their own internships. So I just want to point that out as well. So again, give them a round of applause.
So just a quick little intro and then, hi, I'm Alexandra Guerra. I'm Cuban American. I went to Columbia University. I did environmental engineering and then I fell in love with thermodynamics. For those of you who are engineers, you know how awesome it is. I thought, well, let me go to UC Irvine. Now I'm going to study thermal sciences. So that's what I did. I did my master's in thermal sciences in mechanical engineering here. I just finished this past August and now I'm working at Southern California Edison in the Advanced Technology Lab. It's pretty cool. Like it's the small little bubble in Southern California Edison that really worries about what are the lights going to look like tomorrow and how do we keep them on, and not so much, okay, let's keep the lights on now. And it's really exciting. It's really exciting.
Hello, my name is Anna, and I'm a graduate student from Barcelona in Spain. So I came in a different way. But over there, I already started engaging in research in an environment in electrical engineering. And in the early years of my degree, I already thought to myself, before graduating, I need to have visited Germany, England, and the US. And I need to work a little bit in every country to know how the environment is like. So I achieved Germany and achieved England, 1 month stay in research lab over there. And then I had to come here to the US. And I came here through an internship with Broadcom, which is next door. For most of engineers, I guess you will know that company. And then I thought to myself, I want to be an entrepreneur too. And a good place to be is here, Irvine, and the US in general. My way of staying was to engage in graduate studies. So while in graduate studies, I have started my own company. I have been an intern at Broadcom several times again, and I am also doing research in a lab here. So I have experience in all of the different fields where you can get experience from, but it's all really going to help you build up your future.
I just want to interject, I completely forgot. Same as her, grad school was a great opportunity to learn how to be an entrepreneur or just discover my inner entrepreneur, and then that's what happened when I went to grad school. I dropped my PhD and I became an entrepreneur and started. So,
Great.
Everyone, my name is Mangwanatan. I graduated this past summer in public health science with minors in anthropology and digital information systems. So I have a lot of interest, as you can tell, and that was an interesting experience for me because I started off as bio major, I was on a pre-med track, and prior to my college experience, I actually did research at USC School of Pharmacy in an Alzheimer's lab, and we were looking at estrogen and how that could possibly lead to cancer in elderly women. And after that experience, I knew that when I didn't want to pursue research, but I wanted to be more thoughtful of what that experience would be like. So after a couple years in Irvine, I actually started getting interested in technology. And actually, after one of our guest speakers in our classes, I just got really interested and started talking to the postgrad. And through that experience, I ended up in his research lab, and I'm now still working on with him on it's a privacy research for informatics, and we're looking at how to produce privacy settings for users and how that has social implications. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm also, after my 5 years here, decided to start a company called The Bulletin, and it's a mobile app that helps students manage their time more effectively, especially as a bio major. We know there's a lot of deadlines to keep track of, so it'll be in stores soon.
Wow.
I'm going to open the floor up to questions from you to our panelists. There has to be at least one question.
Let your insecurities go, like Saeed said, just ask any question.
Well, I want to ask, oh, here's one over there.
This is for Anna. Did you go over which kind of you started?
Could you repeat the question?
What was the name of the company that you started?
Broadcom Corporation.
No, that you started.
Oh, the one that I started. Sorry.
I was going to say.
No.
Like,
I love to be a successful personality, no doubt about it. No, the company I started is called Calorie, and we built a mobile application that together with indoor positioning technology will help you experience museums in a deeper and more engaging way. So when you go to a museum, instead of using the old-fashioned audio guide and so on, you can have an interactive app, have conversations with the artists if they are live, listen to videos and so on.
Hello. I've always wanted to do research online, not online, sorry, abroad, like an internship in the sciences. I'm a chemistry major and I love chemistry, biology, physics, I love all of it. But I haven't found anything online that I can go abroad and do research abroad. It's usually teaching opportunities or sightseeing and learning about the culture, and I don't want that aspect. I want to do research abroad, like in a laboratory, and I speak Spanish as well, so I was looking into Spain, but I only found teaching opportunities. I wanted to know how you were able to find research opportunities in other countries like Germany and here.
What I would recommend, does it work?
Yes.
Okay. What I would recommend is that you start working here with a professor and then use his or her connections to go abroad. Okay, I had all the opportunities because I was working in a lab back in Barcelona. After 2 years in my program, I was approached by a professor. I was doing very good in that subject. I was in love with what he was teaching. And he was like, you know, I have some research opportunities if you're interested. And we started working, and in half a year I told him, you know, I am very happy over here, but during the summer period, I'd love to go somewhere else. Where can you recommend that I go, or where could you help me? And through this is how I went to Germany, and then how I went to England, and how I ended up over here. I was supposed to come here, work with my actual professor during my graduate studies to do my master thesis. But that didn't work out well, so I ended up at Broadcom, but I got it thanks to the recommendations from my advisor in Barcelona and my current advisor in here, who, since they were friends, they made a case for me. They were like, she's passionate about her studies, about her job. So what I would recommend, the best way, get in touch with a professor over here, work for some time with him or her, and then let them know your passion, that you're interested in moving somewhere else. And they have plenty of connections all over the world.
If I may add to that. Actually, the second week in March, I'm going to be participating in a side visit at their invitation. There's a program called Euro Scholars, where they do have a program in Europe to invite top US students to come and do research in European universities, in top research universities in Europe. You also have the option of doing research if you participate in the Education Abroad program.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, we have been advocating for that. So if you go as part of EAP, you go beyond just simply taking the classes, and you actually engage the mentors there to receive UROP funding while you're abroad, you need to also have a UCI faculty mentor involved in mentoring the effort. So there are opportunities of, and I do want to emphasize again, faculty within the same discipline or group of disciplines belong to the same club. And that club is not bounded by the US boundaries, but rather it's global. So they know each other, and all you have to do is, again, be part of the network, okay? But there are programs like that, and you might want to look at this Euro Scholars, and I'll find out more about it as come and see me towards the end of March, and I'll tell you more about it.
I just want to piggyback off of that. Just coming out a little bit more, the theme is research and internships. Really, I can't stress enough, do not rely on the internet as your crutch to find opportunities in life, period. Like anything.
Amen.
I will echo that. I will clap for that.
It is so incredibly important to talk to people. I think one thing I realized one day walking around UCI when I was in grad school was I had my headphones in a lot, and I wasn't taking the opportunity to just like stop when I was in the Java line or Java Cafe line and say, hey, what's up? Like, I'm a student in, mechanical engineering, whatever. Talk to people. You never know who you're gonna meet, what they're gonna be doing. You might meet your best friend, you might meet someone who can connect you with, your future employer. It is so important to be present in life and not so much think, we were born with it, right? We were like kids when the internet came out, so we think, oh, we can Google everything. Google will solve my problems, but it really cannot replace the value of getting to know professors, working with them, talking to them and asking them for their resources because they're gonna know the best people in the field. And just in general in life, with internships too, I met the guy who hired me at Edison. They needed an electrical engineer. And I met him at the job fair here, like in April. It was the engineering week job fair, and he told me apply. Then they needed an electrical engineer. I'm not. 2 months later, he called me begging, hey, I opened up a position just for you. And he remembered me from 2 months ago. And so, face-to-face is so valuable. Go to these career fairs, go to these opportunities. They're going to be much more successful for you than Googling, right?
And if I may add something to it, Doug, if I may. Again, don't get stuck with that label. For example, when I did my undergrad a few years ago, I was double major, electrical engineering and biological sciences. One of my true interests were really biomedical engineering, but at the time, biomedical engineering did not exist as its own discipline, or its own major, or its own department. That's why I said earlier, don't get stuck by that concept we call a major. Even within the engineering discipline, now you see the electrical, the mechanical, the material, the biomedical, they're all working together. It's not the same 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, where things were more siloed, okay? And part of your success in the future, which started yesterday, is to develop skills where you're able to talk effectively and communicate and collaborate with people from other disciplines. Okay? So that's critical. That's why when we talk about research is in many of the projects that you will be touching are multidisciplinary in nature. Okay? And some of you might say, oh, I don't have the skill in this and whatever. Again, you don't know something, learn it. Develop a skill in it. Seek help. Get mentors to help you. Okay? Because again, what do you have to lose right now? Later on, when you're making 150, 200, whatever, 50, 100, and you're supporting a family and you have folks, whatever, and then your boss says, I want you to make this presentation on this topic. And you develop that sense of anxiety or whatever, and then you go, you don't do a good job on it. That means you might lose your job, okay? That means you're not going to be able to support that family that is dependent on you. Rather, if you turn that weakness or perceived weakness that you think you have right now into a strength, then you're going to be riding high for the rest of your life. Okay, so keep that in mind.
If I could comment too, a couple things. We're talking soft skills really quick. So how many people here have a business card? Raise your hand. Look around, everybody.
Good for you.
If you do not have a business card, a great takeaway from this is to go get a business card. Right? There's templates, it's very easy to do, you can get it online. But to be able to be in a networking situation, say, yeah, I'm a college student, or I'm interested in this. here's a card. How is somebody going to pass on your information to somebody else when you're out at dinner or you're in an elevator? You're kind of caught without having that information. To parlay on that, make sure that if somebody looks you up or Googles you, there's some sort of professional aspect to it. That's another element. And a third point on Saeed's comment, you wouldn't go about a research project half-ass, pardon my language. But people go about their presentation skills and their soft skills half-ass. There are systems like Toastmasters or clubs or groups that you can get practice speaking. It's a contact sport. So you can have the best idea in the world or you can be the best candidate, but if you can't effectively communicate it succinctly and then give them a business card to follow up, you're at a disadvantage. So business card, soft skills, join a Toastmasters. There's a Zopmasters. And make sure that your online persona is professional.
All right, I'll add in there, the internet is a resource. It is not the end-all be-all. Every year, the Career Center surveys all of the graduates of UCI, and very consistently, year over year, 50% of the respondents say they get their job through personal networking. Another 25% say they get their job from a career fair. So 75% of UCI graduates are getting a job from a one-on-one interaction of some sort. So don't rely on the internet to be the source where it's going to deliver everything to you. It's good for gathering information. It's good for understanding the needs of companies that are out there or the grad programs that you're interested in. But that's where it stops. From there, you've got to take that information and interact with someone.
I want to ask the three panelists, how do you deal with setbacks, failure, and dead ends? And how has that changed over time?
Well, I would like to start. What my mom says is every experience is not wasted. So you really have to take time in that moment that this is temporary, that you're in the young stage of your life. It's okay to make a mistake, and you grow from there. I know through my 5 years in college, there are highs and there are lows. And through those lows, you have to talk to other people. You talk to your friends, you learn from them, you talk to your faculty, you reach out to professors, and you start to learn that not all professors get rid of that idea of what you have, of how they got there. And you actually find out their personal experience as well, and you can relate on that factor. You meet some professors who had a long road to get to where they are. And once you break that, the stigma of who they are, that ego or that inferior complex that you have when just approaching your professor, you come to learn from everyone's experience. So your parents, siblings, your classmates, just really make the effort to talk to others, and it makes you feel that much better that you stumbled a little bit, that you grow, and just in a matter of time, you'll see just how much progress you've made from that mistake.
Yeah, in my case, I'd say like every time I fail, I think about it may be part joke, part truth, but I think about Edison when he was inventing the bulb. He had a helper. And after 1,000 times that he had failed, the helper was like, Mr. Edison, we are never going to get it right. We are not advancing, we are not doing anything. And he replied, yeah, we know something very important. We know 1,000 ways we cannot make the light bulb. At the end, they ended up doing it. So you have a failure, you have learned that there is no way of doing a thing that in a certain approach that you took. You've learned something, so you can start anew in a different direction, and what you have to do is recollect yourself again, think it over, analyze what went wrong, what could have worked, steer the direction, change it, and recover as fast as you can to try again. And don't get demotivated on the way.
Yeah, definitely. I'll give a little examples. I agree with both of these young ladies. Sophomore year, I'm in engineering school in New York, and I just took quite possibly the hardest final of my life. It was applied math in like so many different scenarios, and he brought a physics question on all of them. They were like word problems, and it was a math class. I came out of there like crying. I called my mom, like she can't even hear me because there's just snot, and I'm like, I failed, I have to like start over. And it was literally like this world is falling on top of me, my life is horrible, I suck, I fail at everything in life. And there were a few more calls after some physics tests and that after, but come, let's say a year ago, a little over a year ago, I did a 200A course. It's a an intense math course for all mechanical engineering graduate students that they have to take. I didn't do so well on the first midterm. And reaction, I wanted to cry, maybe cried a little bit, and then I realized, well, hey, like, I don't, you know, what can I do to make it better? Like, what did I do wrong? Did I not try enough examples? Because honestly, what I realized, and in time, is that my failures do not define me. Just because I fail doesn't mean I'm a failure. And I think about it, I look at all the times that I came out of an exam room calling my mom, crying, I failed. And to that point, I realized, hey, I'm in a PhD program, I got a fellowship, I haven't paid for any of my degrees or anything. This is great. I'm doing really good at failing. So I decided that I was going to keep trying to be really good at failing and keep trying and realize that the more you fail, the more you try, and that's how you measure your success, I think.
Okay, sorry, just want to check if this is working. So, I'm a software engineer, and I've been researching an entrepreneurship opportunity for the past year or so. The only problem is, it's located in another country. So I'm wondering, for the ladies up there in the panel who've had to come here, how did you overcome the language barrier? Because that's something that I'm facing right now that I would like some help with.
Where's the country you're going to?
Chile.
Chile. Do you speak Spanish?
A little bit.
Then I guess keep learning Spanish. It's a solution. When you don't know something, you have to put yourself at work. Said was saying, learning. You don't know about it, learning. At the beginning may be tough, but I guess that the rest of the team should make an effort to learn English, but you should make an effort to try to learn Spanish too. So at the midpoint, mixing both languages, you're gonna get to agree. Or if the communication is done also non-verbally, use translators, and if there is something that is not easily understood, just ask again, what do you mean with this? Simplify it. I don't get it. No, I studied English from a very young age. I still have some trouble here and there, but you keep improving as you practice.
Some advice from my own experience. I know this is really sad, I'm embarrassed to say it, but soy cubana, that's not what I'm embarrassed about. I'm Cuban. What I'm embarrassed to say is I learned to speak Spanish fluently when I was 23 years old. I had just finished undergrad, and I had like 7 months off before I came to UCI, and I traveled and I backpacked Central America on my own, and I was in Cuba for like a month, and I didn't know how to communicate in Spanish. It was really embarrassing, and people were like, how are you Cuban? There's something called Brainscape. It's an app. It's like this smart flashcard app. It's super useful, and they have like decks they've already made. So they have like Ruby on Rails things you can look at, French, geography, whatever. I happen to have the Spanish one, and I was going around with my iPhone, and it was not connected to the internet or anything because I didn't want to pay lots of money. And I was just studying these Brainscape Spanish conjugations, and I was just studying all the time. When I was on a bus from Costa Rica to Nicaragua, I was going on there and checking my conjugations, and it's all about immersing yourself and really then, coming off the bus, talking to someone, using the words you learned. And the way to really learn a language is to surround yourself with people that speak it. 2.5 months later, I'm in Cuba, and I woke up one morning and I screamed, "Tia!" in Spanish. I was like, "Tia, look, it's amazing, I can speak Spanish." She goes, "Well, you've been speaking Spanish for a couple weeks now." I said, "No, but I was dreaming in Spanish." So that was some serious progress. So.
I like what she said. You have started to master the language when you started reading in that language. So I very much agree with you. One other thing I really want to emphasize, to go beyond the language. Look around the room. I mean, the beautiful diversity that we have. That's something we should cherish. That's something that we should support. We look different. Some of us come from different cultures, different languages, different personalities, different interests. And yes, while that adds a complexity, but also that's something that should make you more excited to learn more and to appreciate others and to learn to be able to communicate with them more effectively and to appreciate where they come from and what they contribute to the environment and to the team that you're a part of. And this is, I mean, the U.S. is commonly known as the melting pot. And right now, I want you to think, and notice the international theme is coming up quite a bit. So your potential collaborators do not need to be within the United States. So they can be all over the world. Okay? So think in that mode, and that, I guarantee you, will ensure your success. Some of you are going to be involved in high-tech companies that will have operations abroad, that will have employees who come from other countries, who are going to be working and collaborating with you.
Sounds like a great excuse to hit up the Travel Abroad program too, to just implant yourself in that area.
I was wondering, as a woman, we are a minority in the STEM field. So I was wondering, how do you girls manage to stay motivated and inspired to stand where you are standing now?
That's a heavy question. I guess I can start off. Like I said, I work in advanced technology labs. Actually, that guy over there, he came to our tour this morning, right? Hey! I gave a little tour in our lab up in Westminster. I'm one of 2 engineering women and over 100 in our building. That's crazy to me. Like, when I found the other girl, I was like, hi, I'm Alessandra. It's weird, and men don't understand sometimes the things that we go through, and it's frustrating, to say the least. Sometimes I feel like I'm not included because I'm a woman and they have their guy jokes. But you have to tell yourself constantly and remind yourself constantly that it doesn't matter because you are just as smart as them. And there's a lot of things that we do.
Or smarter.
Or smarter. And I'm smarter than them. Also,
Let's face it.
realize too that women and men both we discount women. We do. Like, women are harsher on women than they are on men, and men are harsher on women than they are on men. Men are hired for their potential. Oh, he's got a potentially great future ahead of him in his resume. A woman is hired because, what has she done? So, think of quota. Right, huh? What?
And to meet a quota.
And to meet a quota, right? So, I would say what keeps me motivated to answer your question is thinking, what better time could I have lived in to be a successful woman? And I think this is the best time so far. We can't talk about the future, but I'm gonna make the most of it. We're here, like there's tons of women here. You can get engineering degrees, you can get fellowships, internships. There's nothing stopping you. So just kind of think, well, I want to, think of a little sister or a little cousin that you have. Like, I want to help shape the world into a better place where she doesn't have to feel like really weird that she's one of 2 out of 100 engineers. So that motivates me, is thinking about kids and stuff.
There are lots of women in STEM associations as well. So depending on your discipline, you can probably find a women's association. So although you may not work in the same office as those people, you still have a network of people to talk to about the challenges that you face. Also, this is a national initiative to change. That's part of why we're here, to change the face and to get industry to welcome more women and to promote more women within the STEM fields. So you're on the beginning of something, and you can help set the stage for future women behind you.
Amen.
You don't have to leave.
Guys are welcome.
Sorry, I forgot your name on the far left.
Okay.
I was wondering how you bridged from being a public health science major to involving yourself in technology a lot, or were you minoring in it as well?
So I was only a public health science major. I took up a minor probably my 2nd year in anthropology, but it was that summer when I came up with the idea for the bulletin. That's when I took initiative to contact professors in the informatics department and just question them on how, I'm about to graduate, what could I do to really elevate myself into that field? And they suggested approaching a master's program in health informatics or informatics at large, but I was wondering what can I do right now at least so I could put myself in a better situation to apply for grad school. So that's when I learned more about informatics minors and digital information systems, and that's how I decided to apply for the minor.
Oh, so did you learn like a lot of computer program languages, or?
So informatics tends to focus more on the higher level thinking of what informatics is or what computer science is. So you don't necessarily program all the time, but it's really good that you can understand the language. It's really just learning the language of coding that you can actually talk to programmers and understand what technology is in a better, higher level sense.
Are you interested in programming?
Well, I'm kind of coming from like a similar standpoint as you. I live with comp-sci majors. I'm a poli-sci bio, like digital arts person. So, but I'm interested in technology, so I was trying to figure out a way to kind of, I don't know, move forward with all the stuff that I know right now into like a kind of a different field. So I just thought it was kind of like a weird melting pot. And then hearing you talk about that, you've kind of made that transition, I was just interested in it.
I talk a lot. Just tell me to shut up. But don't. Yeah, like I think you have a great attitude. Don't pigeonhole yourself. You can do anything. Poli-sci doesn't matter. I studied environmental and then mechanical, and then actually Asos and I had met on a team. Like, let's be real. So Asos and I, we did a team Butterworth competition, which I think starts up soon. So you guys
If everybody grabs their little piece of paper, right, their little piece of paper, those are all unique elements that you can get involved with a team. Now, these are people that have concept papers that are pushing forward, and they need smart engineers on their team. They need a diverse, and it literally, they have to build a team.
Mm-hmm.
So the event on the 19th, which is this coming Monday, it's an event specifically for people that don't have ideas that want to get involved in these competitions. And these ladies all can speak towards the competitions. It steps you through building the business process. There's workshops, it's almost a whole year, lots of prize money. So again, it's helping you step through that process.
Yeah, so you'll meet cool people, and don't mistake me if I'm wrong. Didn't you guys win the year before us?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So their app was awesome. It was a museum app, and they presented last year at the kickoff that we went to, and then we found a team there, and then we won third in Butterworth in this room last May, which is weird to be in here. But you can join the competitions like that, meet cool people. Get in, to the tech field, because the Butterworth is a mobile app competition. And there's nothing stopping you from going to codeacademy.com. It's free. You do a 3-hour course on programming basics, and you understand it. And then you can go with it as far as you want. In the UK now, they're requiring primary and secondary schools to teach coding. So it's a thing. Everybody should code a little bit.
Yeah, what I would add is go out to these events, don't get discouraged, do not just stay with one competition or so. It's all about, what we were talking before, building a community and growing your personal network. Okay, you want to know people, maybe you don't have the skills in computing, but somebody else that you will meet will have, and you will learn from that interaction with that person, and you can bring in a completely different perspective also to the team that you're forming. So that's key to the success. As she said, we were the winners of the Butterworth competition, not last year, the previous year. Okay. And we all started 2 years and a half ago, so we have been a trajectory. We were a group of friends that decided Irvine is quite boring, frankly. So we decided that we would gather together, drink some beers, and brainstorm ideas. Okay, and out of this, we all suggested one idea and so on. And we said, okay, now we have the ideas, what do we do with them? Okay, let's go to business competitions. For the fun of it, when we drink a beer, we write a business plan, why not? And we joined a competition in New York. It was the first competition we ever joined. And out of 220 applications, they selected 20. We were in those 20. We're like, oh my God, these beers were helpful. Didn't go farther. We submitted the full business plan, so on. And they said, okay, the idea is cool. You have very nice concepts in here, but you're missing an important part of the team, which is marketing. And and so on. They said, okay, let's go forward. And then we looked locally what was available, and we went to the Paul Mirage business competition. You have to submit, I think the deadline is approaching also. You had to submit 1-page or 2-page description of the idea. We were turned down on the first round. It was like, okay, we are going down instead of up. Next chance we got was the Butterworth Product Development Competition. We said, okay, let's go in. This is more technical. We don't need so much in marketing and so on. Well, we joined and we made it. We won it. Wasn't expected. We won it. Out from that, then due to that, we incorporated more team members. Then this is a company, something live. It evolves. So we were 6 at the moment we won the competition. Then we went for a little bit. 2 dropped, we incorporated, then now 1 more member has dropped, but each of these members that have come out, have bring a lot of value to the company. Different perspectives from the marketing, different perspectives because of the cultural background. We had some people from China, completely different from me. I have another team member who's also Spanish. We think alike, believe it or not. It may be in our culture that sometimes we are so connected, it's like, oh, we are thinking the same. We have a team member from Colombia. He thinks differently. The team member from China brings great point of view to the team. So build a community, don't stay local, pick people from different parts of the world. We all bring in a different perspective and something that is very valuable. And network, go to events, get out of your labs. It's important. Get out of your labs, as much as you love your research, get out. Because the answer sometimes is not in what you're doing. The answer may be from somebody it's like, oh, you know what you're doing? I worked on this, and the answer is this. And you're, damn it, 1 month, lost, and he knew it. So get out and build a community.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
Okay, but look how many times she failed, and now she's 30 and she's got her own company. So just going back to the failure thing, keep failing, and it's a good sign. You end up where she's at, so that's pretty good.
Do we have other questions? Other questions from the audience? Oh, one more.
Okay, so another question. This one's about research. So I have something that I want to research, and I know a professor on campus who does something similar, but not exactly in line with what I'm interested in. So, I don't know if there's a professor who would do something I'm exactly interested in, but how would I sort of pitch my idea to the professor to see if that's something that I could work on under his supervision?
May I ask what you're interested in and which professor you're considering?
Okay, so what I'm interested in is 3D printing, specifically using calcium deposits to make artificial bones. And the closest that I've found is a professor in the mechanical engineering department. His name is, yes, thank you. Yeah, but he also does 3D printing, but for a different purpose. So he's, I have sent him an email and I've approached him about it. I'm just not sure entirely, how to get the ball rolling, I guess.
So that's good. You emailed him. If he doesn't answer you, there's also 2 things you can do. There's the 3D printing club. You can send them an email. They're pretty cool guys. They just go and they let people print things and do whatever. And it's all, I don't know if you've been to the 3D printers in Engineering Tower, Rapid Tech. Have you been to there? Yeah, yeah. So there's tons of 3D printing. Yeah, I think show up at Madhu's office and say, hey, this is something I want to do, or someone maybe in the biological sciences who would also be interested in that, and say, hey, there are these great resources. There's so much you can do with what we have here. It sounds like a really cool project.
See, if I may add, it sounds like the issue is not the 3D printing, but more you're looking for an expertise to help you come up with a better model.
Yeah.
And normally, while a faculty mentor is not working on topic X currently, but maybe it falls within his or her sphere of interest, So talk to Professor Madhu, he might recommend somebody else to talk to. If you're looking at somebody in orthopedics, for example, there's Professor Ranjan Gupta, who is an MD and who has been also involved in research in that area. So the issue sounds like it's not a 3D printing, but more how you're going to come up with a model and what type of expertise are you looking for, you know, from the biomedical side or from the biomedical engineering side, and so forth and so on. There's a leading scientist who works with Professor Madhu, Lawrence Kalinsky, who's also very much open to exploring ideas with students, and he'd be a good mentor for you to work with. I would suggest before you approach anybody is to look up their profile and read a little bit more about their the different projects that they have worked on. Because maybe this is a project they worked on 4 or 5 years ago, but now they're working on something else. Okay? So, I don't know if that helps. David Rankensmeyer might also be at GP. You want to suggest?
I think it's the topic you have interest. Most likely you will be able to find a faculty member in material science. And 3D printing is just a tool. And what you're looking for is the right material, allow you to do additive process. So I do believe there are faculty members in material science, in school engineering, can work with you.
Thank you.
Look at the people in material science and you will find somebody that, you know.
Well, are there any other questions? Oh,
I have a question I made to the audience. As a result of what you have heard, can we hear some volunteers in terms of what actions you're about to take? And in terms of impact of what you have heard. Action you're about to take this quarter, this year, next year, how does this impact you? Some volunteers, please. Yes?
I'm going to try to fail.
What else? And do it efficiently, by the way, and do it fast, right? Yes.
What I plan to do is I'm currently working in an idea and registered with the Entrepreneur Center. And I want to know if I'm going to fail and know that I'm going to fail, trying and not know, not just simply say, oh, I have this great idea, but I'll never know if it's good or not.
Exactly.
Let's fail together.
It's like when somebody comes to me and says, I want to do research, or I want to go to med school and do pediatrics, or I'm interested in pediatrics. And I say, why? Oh, I like kids. Well, who doesn't like kids? Well, at least in general, majority. So the point is, don't walk around and say, I'm interested in this, unless you have tried it, unless you have really tested it. Who wants to go to grad school here? You must do research as an undergrad. Because what do people do in grad school? 24/7 research. If you do not have the stamina and the passion to do research, and you haven't done it as an undergraduate, forget about going to grad school. And I really want to, this is something part of my values that I want to emphasize. The lady in the back asked about women, and while the educational pipeline sometimes weeds out people from pursuing certain careers and disciplines, prove them wrong. And really the burden on each one of you is to be a role model and to excel as fast and as high as you can. And you bring other students under your wings and other people under your wings, and you become their mentor. And you take it upon yourself as a responsibility that I'm going to double, I'm going to triple, I'm going to quadruple the number of women in this discipline. Okay? 2 out of 200, it's a shame. So if I were you, I would be unhappy about that. And I would say, you know what? I'm going to pursue it as far as I can. And join. And in 5 years, the percentage should be 50-50. Okay? Can we do that?
Yeah!
Booyah!
Saw it!
Well, I think we've had a pretty eventful, informative, and just all around great workshop. Please give a hand to our panelists. Finally, be sure to avail yourselves of all of the handouts and information that's there on the table at the back. You've seen each of the websites, the Blackstone Group, the Career Center, and the Europe. It's free. Information is free. You know the directors. These are resources. Ask questions. We're here to help you. So with that, thank you for coming.
We have Europe flyers of the deadlines and stuff right here, the yellow one. You're welcome to take it.